What's up, everybody? Horace here with 40 Plus Finance, and in this video I want to talk about my opinion in terms of the pros and advantages of a high yield covered call ETF like ULTY versus writing your own covered calls. Now, I'm not a financial planner. This is not financial advice. I'm just an old fool trying to figure out how to generate some recurring income on a regular basis in middle age. And I want to share my journey with you in the hopes that you might get some perspective, you might learn a few things, and you might even help me out in the comments. Please participate. But without further ado, let's get into it. So first, you have to understand my position, right? Where are my opinions coming from? So in order to do that, I'm going to share my screen. And what you'll notice is inside of my Fidelity account, you are looking at my activity for the last 30 days. But what we're going to do is we're going to change that year to date. We're going to look at everything that has happened year to date. And then what we're going to do is, let's see, we're just going to do a search for ULTY if we can. And what you'll notice, because this is year to date, I learned about high yield income ETFs back at the end of July, maybe towards the middle, but I started taking action towards the end of July. So we won't even count July. We'll count August, September, and October. And if we jump all the way up to the end of October, you'll see I sold out of my entire position. It took 2 trades to get it done, and I had roughly $8,000 in there. But if we come back down, you can see what was happening. I was getting, every time you see dividend received, dividend received, dividend received, then of course you can see I was reinvesting all of that, reinvesting. But the point is this: when we talk about advantages, so in 3 months of holding ULTY, what do I feel like the advantage was? The advantage was I felt like I was in a fund. And of course, everybody says, you should be investing in funds that track certain things, whatever, so it was good to be part of a fund. I didn't have to worry about investing. What's great about a fund is you don't have to think about making moves. They do all of that for you. You just invest in the fund and you let the fund managers do what they do and you trust them. So it was hands off. That's an advantage. Another advantage I liked was that ULTY is a fund that pays out weekly dividends. I thought that's nice to receive some actual, I'm calling it dividend, but what it really is yield. It's nice to receive some income each and every week. And it's about as passive as you can get. That's another advantage. Passive income. You hear about it all the time. Everybody wants it because you get the feeling that you're getting something for nothing. Now in life, we know that there is no such thing as getting something for nothing. So let's flip over to what I would consider after the 3 months I've been in it. What would I consider some disadvantages of high yield income, covered call ETFs, specifically ULTY, but this kind of applies to them all because they all pretty much work basically the same. A disadvantage is the fees. I don't think you really feel that all that much. And I mean, you get what you pay for, right? So you don't want to do all of the stock selection and movement and all of, realigning and whatever. You don't want to manage your own stocks. You got to pay for that. And it can be kind of high. That is a disadvantage. I don't think it's a huge disadvantage, but it is a disadvantage. Number two for me is when you're in a fund like this, you're constantly monitoring and trying to stay up to speed with what is going on with the fund. And if anybody knows ULTY, you've already heard. Oh, NAV erosion. Oh, it keeps going down. Oh, it's probably they're gonna do a reverse split. Oh, what are the underlyings doing? And all it is, it's a lot of negative news. And I didn't let that bother me. I did not get out of ULTY because of the negative news. Okay. And I got another video that talks about why I got out of it. I got out of it because I learned that I could make more money writing my own cover calls, which I guess brings me to another, you could call it con or disadvantage. You're going to get what they give you. Whatever they decide the yield is what you're going to get. And you have no control over that. So let's come back to my screen and I can kind of show you what I'm talking about. So you can see I started in ULTY back in July. But at the same time, again, we're year to date. We're just going to put the keyword call in there. And what you'll notice is in August, I started selling my own covered calls while at the same time investing in ULTY. So it wasn't zero sum total. It wasn't either or. You can do them both. But in 3 months, I felt like, you know what? I can do much more. I'll give you an example. Last week, and I have a video that talks about that. So watch, please subscribe. I don't have that many videos. You can find the other video where I actually give real examples. But last week I made the better part of $500, $480 in a week. It wasn't even a week, but you know, I sold 6 covered calls on my own from 3 companies, and you can see they all expired out of the money. I don't care if the stock gets called away or not. It's not about me holding the underlying stock. I know that's a strategy for some people. It's not for me. I'm just looking to generate income, and covered calls is a very conservative, relatively safe, in my opinion, way to generate some income. So I guess that brings us over. Let's talk about writing your own covered calls. The advantage I like about it with my strategy is I'm only in it for the income. Okay. I like the fact that with AI nowadays, or all the information out there, Yahoo Finance, there's all types of ways to research companies so that you don't end up with stock that's just going to go completely, belly up on you. You can pick some companies that are looking good. You can get your analysis, and then basically you can just pick stocks that fit your budget. And within those stocks, when you look at the option chain, you can pick strike prices and expiration dates that fit your strategy. I mean, it's a lot of fun. And that's another advantage. I like being involved. That might be a disadvantage for someone that doesn't want the involvement. I like that. I like a hands-on approach. I love the fact that it doesn't take much time to execute a covered call. And once you pick your favorite stocks, what you'll find is you'll probably end up writing covered calls over and over again. You'll hear people talking about that. What would be another advantage? Well, like I was saying, this is big for me. I can make more money. I can make much more money, and I don't have to worry about, the NAV erosion, the negative news, all this stuff that surrounds ETFs, especially high yield covered call income ETFs. I mean, there's just a lot of chatter. I'm out of that. You know what I mean? And I'll probably still follow it, what's going on, because it's interesting, but I just don't think that there's, when it comes to covered calls, I would love if you subscribe to the channel, come back, leave comments, let's form a community. And over time, with my transparency, you're going to see whether it works for me or not. Some disadvantages of writing your own covered calls. Like I said, you've got to manage it. You got to take responsibility. When things go the other way, you can't look at the fund and point fingers. You got to look in the mirror and you got to take responsibility. I'll give you a perfect example. I bought, if you notice, I'll share my screen again. If you notice, I started out writing covered calls on Intel stock. And what ended up happening at one point, I got the premium. It was nice. The stock started going down. And I mean, it just kept going down. Well, I didn't want to follow it down writing covered calls, because I have to always consider what is my cost basis, or in other words, what did I pay for the stock? If I follow the stock down and keep writing covered calls that will give me good premium, in order to get the good premium, I got to be close to the current strike price. The current strike price was so far away from my cost basis. If those shares got called away, I would get hammered. So what I had to do was sit there, hold on to the stock that I didn't want to do, hold on and wait for Intel to come back up. Then guess what? Intel shot up $10 more than what I paid. So I lost all that upside, because when it got back up to where I could write a decent covered call at my cost basis, I went right back to writing covered calls. It shot up and I lost all that upside. Now, for some people, that's going to be a disadvantage. The disadvantage was for me saying, man, if I would have just sat there and let the stock appreciate, I could have gained $10 a share on 100 shares. That's $1,000 I missed, but here's the thing with that. I had no way of knowing. You never know. So, this stuff is sort of like, it's almost like gambling. It really is. And on the other side, yeah, I would have gotten $10 per share in paper gains, but not realized gains. You sit on a stock and you can feel good or bad about how it's doing up and down on paper, but nothing is real until you sell the stock. So I had to just get out of that. And I know I'm getting off track. I apologize, but that is a disadvantage emotionally. Another disadvantage, I guess, is just the amount that you have to have invested in the stock in order to cover enough calls to really start making some income. But like I said, last week I got over $480 in premium, and that was just made in a week, because I don't write the monthly cover calls. I go for 4 days, usually no more than 5 days. In that week is I bought the shares unless I already had them. I wrote the cover call, and then the contract was up all in 1 week. That's the way I like it. And that works for me. Really not too many disadvantages with writing your own cover calls, but it's not perfect. Nothing is. And again, I've talked to you guys long enough, so I'm going to let you go, but please subscribe. Come back, leave comments. Let me know what you think. I'm transparent. I don't know a lot about this, but I think that's the best time to actually be transparent and share with you what I'm doing. In the next video, probably going to talk about why. What is going on in my life at the age of 56? Why am I doing this? When at my age, I should be sitting on a minimum of $500,000 invested, and I should be, looking over the horizon and ready to start winding down and transitioning into retirement. It's not going to happen for me because of the things that I did in my earlier years. So maybe we'll talk about that again. Subscribe, leave comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.